For this deep dive, we're going to take this section here and we're going to put some shapes behind to create a card style effect. And we can try a few different ways of achieving this, but ultimately with this type of edit, I tend to just play around with it and see how I get on. Additionally, I think I'm going to create a card effect behind this section here with the semi-transparent overlay, just to make that text punch. So in preview mode now, so I'm going to go back to editor and I'm going to go add element, and we're going to work on the hero section first. So let's have a look at shapes. And I've added my shape. I can now click and expand it to the edge, and I'm going to have it slotting at the bottom of this hero section. Could bring it down a little bit more if I want to. I think I've got black text or dark text overlaying it. Yes, so let's go for a white block, and then we're going to bring the transparency back a little bit to around 50%. We can also see that there's a border around this shape as well. Can't find a way of getting rid of the border, so we're going to have to leave that in. And let's now move that to the back. So we've got two options. We can either send it backwards or we can send it to the back. Because this background image isn't included in that, we can send it to back and it will still overlay it. So now we've got the option to maybe reduce this custom heading 1 style and just reduce the font size. From a design perspective, we shouldn't really do this because our heading 1s, which are used once per page, should be the largest text we have on our page. But sometimes you have to make adjustments to get the format and layout that you want. You could argue that this will be our heading 1 and then this is a smaller heading that can be repeated multiple times per page, and that would get around it as well. But there we go. That's one shape there, overlaying that background, and we can just make sure we've got the margins left and right the same size. And we can also bring this block right over to the edge of the content bounding box. So we can see this 24-column grid. I'm just bringing that text block over to the right-hand side so it snaps to the edge of it. Only background colors and images will expand beyond those. Okay, that's looking rather smart. So if we look at this section now, where we've got 3 signposts. At the moment, there's not a huge amount of space in between each of these elements. But what I'm going to do first is add in our shape. Again, another rectangle. And this time we're going to go for a solid white color. If I can find one. So we've got a very subtle divide between the content block and the grey behind it. So it's a subtle shape. I can now move this to the back again, overlaying that grey background color, and I can move the left and right handles in. One thing I didn't do last time was change the text on each of these, but I don't think I'll do that. Our focus here is on the layout and design, not necessarily the content. One way, when we're making large structural changes, I could just delete those and duplicate this and then add the content in when ready, which would make a lot of sense here. We can use the smart guides then to make sure that it's aligned both centrally to the image and also vertically in line with the other blocks either side of it. So we get the structure in place first, then we refine it for content. So once we've got that shape in place, we can duplicate it. I'm not worried about that text overlaying it for now. We'll fix that in a moment. Finally got the last card in place. What we can do now is send it to the backwards again, and then finally, that didn't work. We'll try again. Oh, I pressed send backwards, that's why. So send both to the back. Because they're not overlapping with these sections, they don't count them. So the layers are directly related to anything that's clashing with it. So this will move forward and back in relation to the other shapes that it overlaps, in this case, that white card, but nothing else. So let's duplicate this read more button. And once more. Okay, we have our 3 cards in place. We can now look at the spacing above and below. It can be prudent to bring that down a little bit, but first I'm going to just take that heading out of the way to start with. And again, finally with a third one. That's quite an advanced card effect, just using simple rectangle shapes. And a two-tone color layout where we've got a lighter grey background and then the white cards overlaying it. It's now just about spacing, and I want some nice consistent spacing. So when we look at macro and micro white space, the macro white space are the spacing between these blocks in relation to the others. So they should be even, and there should be a clear separator between each of these cards, and we've got that. Macro white space here, we should have larger space above the text than below. And again, we've got some nice even spacing here. So some clear spacing below the card blocks. And that's it. That's just one way that we can create some nice advanced card effects here in Hosting a Website Builder. Let's finally jump over to the preview option, and we can preview that design in place. It's looking sharp, and there's just strong impact carrying through. Hope you found this helpful. Next up, we'll be fixing all of this on mobile view. At the moment, it's a little bit all over the place. And I'll have a dedicated deep dive for creating and editing these designs on mobile. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.
If you have found this video helpful, then why not try out some of our other content? I'm Elwyn Davis, founder of Pixel Haze Academy, and I have been running successful fast-growth web design agencies for 20 years. To jump further into the Hostinger rabbit hole, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel, use my affiliate link and get 10% off Hostinger, get exclusive discounts on my Hostinger courses, and the Pixel Haze VIP membership. On top of all of that, you can now book a one-to-one session with me, and we can tackle your web design challenges together. You can find all of these options in the description. Enjoy.